Basil of Baker Street by Eve Titus. Chapter 10. We steal aboard the yacht. When we arrived at the inn, I asked, "What was the secret plan you and the constable discussed?" Basil smiled. "A curiosity killed a cat, you know. Tonight we'll tell the tale." For the rest of the afternoon we lounged in our rooms. Basil put on his Angora robe and curled up in a chair for a much-needed catnap. At 5 he awoke and dressed. We descended to the dining room. "Eat hearty," advised my friend. "I don't know when or where we'll be having our next meal." Promptly at 6, he said, none too softly, "The time is ripe. While the terrible three dine at the Flying Squirrel, you and I will board their yacht." "Basil, you should have lowered your voice." He winked. "Do you really think so? Come along." We walked to the very end of town and continued on until we came to a lonely, windswept beach. Behind some rocks was a small dinghy. "Clues left it for us," said Basil. "Are you armed?" I patted the revolver in my back pocket. "Dawson, we are dealing with dangerous ruffians. You can still return to the safety of the inn." I squared my shoulders. "Stuff and nonsense. We started this together and we'll finish it together." His eyes twinkled. "If it doesn't finish us first." Far across the water gleamed the lights of the yacht. We got the dinghy afloat and rowed swiftly and silently towards the Victoria. An enormous moon hung low in the sky. I bent to the oars, wondering idly about the truth of the old saying that the moon is made of green cheese. We could hear the crew singing a rollicking sea chanty. The voices grew louder, and quite suddenly the yacht loomed before us. A rope ladder hung over the side of the vessel. Unobserved, we climbed up, stealthily. We went below decks. After opening the doors of several cabins and peering within, Basil cried, "At last! A typewriter! Let us hope it is the one I am seeking." He took the kidnapper's letter from his pocket and put a blank sheet of paper in the machine. I watched as he copied the note, word for word. Then he whipped out a pocket lens and compared the two notes. "There is no doubt of it, Dawson. The original was typed on this machine." "But isn't all typewriting more or less alike?" "My dear fellow, that's not so. Typewriting can definitely be identified as the work of a certain machine. We judge it as we judge handwriting. Each typewriter has its own habits, even when it is in perfect condition. And this one is not. Let us take these two notes, for example." Interested, I looked over his shoulder. "Notice the peculiar slant to the letter L," he pointed out. "Also observe that each capital B is minus part of its stem, and that every period has punched a hole through the paper. No two typewriters type exactly alike, yet the typing on these two notes is almost identical. Therefore, they are both the work of the same machine." "Remarkable!" I exclaimed. "Yet it seems so simple when properly explained. You must have put in a great deal of study on the subject." "True. A detective must be expert in many fields." Suddenly he pricked up his ears. "Hark!" I heard swiftly running footfalls from above, coming closer and closer. Basil crammed both notes into his pocket. "Remember, Dawson, we have the evidence, but the criminals have not been caught. Now we shall meet them in person, precisely as I planned. 2 of their spies were in the dining room of the inn, and I made certain that they overheard where we were going. Here they come. Put up a good fight." The door swung open, and the terrible three came charging in, followed by several husky sailors. Chapter 11. Captured by the terrible three. At once Basil hurled himself forward, fighting like a wildcat. I myself battled with a strength I never dreamed I had, tackling one enemy after another. Then two of them sat on me, and I was powerless to move. I saw that my muscular friend was being held down by several sailors. He had already knocked three of them senseless. But we were only two against many, and we were soon disarmed and tightly bound. The terrible three stood over us, scowling. "I spies heard you were coming here," said one of them. "You're no ship's captain, and you ain't no first mate. Who are you, and why did you sneak aboard?" "You may not recognize me," declared Basil calmly, "but I can name each one of you. Barney the bank robber, Freddy the forger, and Percy the pickpocket. Now you've become kidnappers. In the name of our good and gracious Queen, commit no more crimes." Freddy the forger rubbed at Basil's cheek. Some of the grease paint came off. "In disguise, eh? Well, shiver my timbers if it ain't our old enemy, Basil, the scientific sleuth. And Doc Dawson, too. What a catch!" "It's you who'll be caught," said Basil sternly, "and you'll pay for your crimes. I'll see to it." "Not a chance, you snoop. You'll be too busy playing tag with the fishes at the bottom of the ocean." Percy the pickpocket laughed harshly. "Ha ha ha ha! Thought you'd trap us, eh? Tomorrow our gangs go to Baker Street to chase everybody out. As for the twins, well, keep them ourselves. That'll teach you to stick your nose into our business. Take 'em up on deck, Clue," ordered Barney the bank robber. "We'll soon be up to heave 'em overboard. It'll be more fun than burgling the Bank of England." We were carried above and dumped on deck. The sailors turned their backs and began singing again. Basil squirmed close. "Quick, Dawson, the ropes!" I had visited my dentist recently, and my teeth were in excellent condition. Bending my head, I gnawed steadily away until Basil was free. At once he stood up and gave 3 loud, sharp squeaks. Dozens of police, led by Constable Clues, came swarming over the rails of the yacht. It was a bitter battle, but the forces of law and order won. Clues tipped his cap to Basil. "I thought you'd never give the signal, sir. Our boats are waiting on the starboard side, ready to carry out your plan." "Well done." Basil handed him the kidnap note. "This evidence will put the terrible three behind bars. The typewriter is below. Take it with you." The constable paused. "I trust the Polus will receive some of the credit for the capture." "Tut, tut, Clues. All the credit will go to you and your brave force. Leave my name out of it." Then he beamed most happily at the terrible three, whose faces were as black as thunderclouds. "So your scheme failed, eh? In his poem to A Mouse, Robert Burns, a wise human poet, wrote, 'The best laid schemes o' mice and men gang after gley.' I often wish that Burns had been a mouse." He lit his Merwood pipe. "And now, my not-so-terrible three, where are the twins?" "Well, never squeal," they shouted hoarsely. "Then I'll find out for myself, and I wish you all a nice, long vacation in the Mousemore prison." Thank you for listening to Grandad Ork. You can hear more stories by going to the Grandad Ork channel, and if you want to hear stories read back to back, then have a look in the playlists. If you subscribe to the channel, then you'll know when a new one is ready. The books are available in most high street stores, libraries, and there are links to some online sellers in the description below if you don't have a copy. So, until next time, bye for now.